Every snap is an interview.
After the Snap.
What a snap.
Hey, keep your mouth shut, 50!
I lead by example.
With Blake and Reed Ferguson, discussing life in, out, and after football.
To be able to leave walking away with a degree and a championship, it couldn't be any better.
Yeah!
Well, you can take this boy out the real South on but you can't take the real South out of my voice. And now here we go again, twist a little bit deeper because I got thick skin.
On today's episode of After the Snap, we are joined by my teammate, Miami Dolphins fullback Alec Ingold. Nothing more needs to be said. It's time for After the Snap. Let's go.
I need to match that energy.
Oh, let's freaking go. Let's roll.
I think
I
that
love the
been,
old school cap.
Old school, as OG gets.
I think that might have been the single best intro we've had to this podcast in the history of After the Snap.
We got it.
That was fantastic.
I had like an entire introduction scripted for you, but I don't think that we need one anymore.
No, let's roll.
I am going to introduce you just so that the people know who just set the tone for this interview. On the pod this week, we are joined by the 2014 Gatorade High School Player of the Year, dual threat quarterback, and also happens to play fullback for the Miami Dolphins, all around phenomenal human being, the Mr. Alec Ingold. Dude, thank you for coming on the pod.
I appreciate you just letting everyone know that my athleticism has just been downhill since 2014. I really appreciate that. I don't think
that makes three of us.
It truly transcends who you are as a person and just shows you how much that there is to Alec Ingold. There's so much more than what you see on a roster. He is an all dual threat quarterback, played linebacker. He does it all, folks.
Blake, can we stop pumping my tires and can we get in?
We can get into it. I
need to know what and because you're Gatorade High School Player of the Year, I know you remember it. Dot me up some senior year stats, touchdowns, yards. What are we talking here?
Dog, see, Wisconsin high school football is a different breed. It's a different breed of animal. We were Division I though, which is the highest. It's like 7A, 7A,
okay.
6A, whatever.
Okay.
We're Division I, which is the biggest schools. But man, we ran the ball a lot. We ran the ball a lot. It was a glorified wildcat. Probably threw the rock for about 20 tugs. Probably ran for another 30. It was a lot of times the boys were sipping Gatorade at halftime. Like we're putting the feet up at halftime. We're watching the boys get better. We're playing for the entire, the organization of the high school. But we put up 40, 50 points by half.
You might not even have your shoulder pads on in the second half.
No, it's like a preseason game half the time.
Yeah, no shoulder pads, tennis shoes, doesn't matter.
Sounds like we had a similar high school experience to Blake and myself. We were Power O and usually out of the game by the third quarter.
Dude, we were opposite of like a wing tee. All the jet motions you can have, we're just read option on everyone. Like if you think we're reading the defensive end, no, we're reading the stack linebacker. You get defenses were in a blender. They had no idea what to do. They're like, it was like a spaceship. It was like a UFO coming down and they were like, what is this offense? Like, how do you defend it? We just dial it up.
So incredible. I want to talk about growing up in Green Bay. You're in the backyard of the Green Bay Packers. Also a very proud college football state. And you got to play for the hometown team. I want to hear about that. I want to hear about growing up in Green Bay and then playing for the Wisconsin Badgers. Had to be Wisconsin. Is it Badgers? How do you
Wisconsin Badgers?
The Badgers. You got to hold the Midwestern
bag and bag. That's what you're trying to go with. It's just the Badgers. It's easy.
So
it rolls off the tongue.
So what was it like playing for the hometown team? I guess not hometown, but home state team.
It was really cool. Yeah, growing up in the shadows of Lambeau were awesome. It was awesome. And I played at Lambeau as a youth, like Pop Warner, growing up at a halftime of a preseason game. And then we played y'all, LSU at Lambeau, opened up the season there as a college kid, and then played there in the league. So, dude, no, it's crazy. It's in a complete like community. Everyone loves football. Sundays, you could show up to church with a Packers jersey or a button-down shirt. And I was always hassling my parents, like, just let me wear the jersey. Like, let me wear the jersey. No, I had to wear polo. I had to dress up nice. But no, it was awesome seeing guys at the grocery store like Clay Matthews, PBJ Ratio, like just witnessing them in real life was insane. So to be able to go up there was awesome. To be able to get a real late offer at Wisconsin, go down and play for the Badgers was a dream come true. I always wanted to do that. I remember getting that offer. I was committed to NIU to play quarterback. I got that offer and it was like, I mean, how do you say no?
You
like,
can't turn that down.
This is what you dream of as a kid growing up, like wanting to be Lee Evans, Ron Dane, all those guys growing up. And it's like, you got the shot to do it. Like, I don't care how long I got to sit the bench for my op, but like, I'm going to put in that work to try and make it. So that was awesome.
No doubt. And one of the things that you mentioned, seeing guys like Clay Matthews, seeing guys like BJ Raji out and about in Green Bay, I've heard stories about people just like seeing Aaron Rodgers at the grocery store. Does that happen quite a bit? Like, it's a small town. Like it has to happen all the time.
It happens all the time. And you kind of know when to expect it, when not to. And I try and like, when I was a kid, I try not to embarrass myself, but I do think that people of Green Bay do a great job of like respecting people's space. Yeah. Like, they're not going to come up with a picture and an autograph like in the line at the Piggly Wiggly grocery store. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, it's because you see them all the time. Like it's not like Miami or New York where you just like happen to bump into somebody in a huge city. You know, it's a small town, so it has to happen. I mean,
yeah, and there's a level of respect. Like, that's where you look up to. So you're just going to respect them, give them their space. Totally. And that was the coolest part for me.
Alec, we had Josh Allen on a couple months ago, and he referenced, I think our first game we play out in LA on the Thursday night to open the season. And that's going to be his first game back home in California. And he mentioned that he's going to have, I don't even know, 300 people there or something like that, like a ton of people there. When you went back to play in Green Bay, your first time in the pros, was it a similar experience? You have a ton of people there, a bunch of, kind of half the high school show up. Like, what are we talking?
Hey, so I think half of Howard Swamico showed up. That's where I grew up. That was like the area, but I did not have to get the tickets, which was awesome because I would have had no game check. I would have no game check.
Clutch.
So everyone got their own tickets. Everyone was in there. And I remember doing a little pregame walk around, and people that were working at the stadium were like, Alec, what's up? Like, good to see you. And it was just like, it's like, okay, I need to dial in. I need to know what play we're running in this first 15 because my head was spinning for sure.
I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize is like we as NFL players, like we have to pay for the tickets. Like we don't, in college you get like your 4 tickets and, you can get others from teammates or whoever that aren't using tickets. But like, if you have 300 people come to the game to watch you play, like that's expensive, dude. NFL tickets are pricey.
And then you're not getting the cheapest ones either.
No, you're getting more for sure.
Like you got 2 and you better use those 2 to the best of your ability. That's about it.
That's right. So as this is one of the questions I was looking forward to asking you. As an undrafted guy myself, I'm going into my 7th year coming up. Got a special place in my heart for those undrafted guys. As an undrafted guy yourself, do you feel like that has given you a chip on your shoulder throughout your career so far? How have you approached, your career and making a few teams with that kind of as your background?
Dude, being undrafted, like, it's a gut check. There's no other way to put it. Like,
100%.
You expect to be drafted. You're at the top 1% of the 1%, right? So like Senior Bowl, combine, whatever you've done, like you're All-American, you're All-State, you're a Gatorade Player of the Year, like you've always been that dude, right? And then for 32 teams, 32 general managers, 32 organizations to be like, we're going to go somewhere else for what we want to get done. It's a gut check. It's probably the first time for a lot of people that you're told no, like you're not good enough, like we don't value you enough. And I think at that moment, like sitting down, I just remember like it was a moment for me to go all in. There's a moment of let's commit to this. How much do you really love ball? Like how much do you really love to play? And I remember sitting down after that draft day and my dad just sitting me on the porch and he's like, are you ready to go take a grown man shot? Like, cause that's what it's going to come down to. That's it. Like you got to grow up right now. No one handed you anything. You got to go take something. And to understand that as like a 22, 23, 24-year-old kid is very hard. But as an undrafted kid, you have to learn fast. You don't get any more ops. No one's handing you any extra reps. And you just got to learn on your own, learn on the fly. And you got to make an impression fast. So I think all those lessons and getting tossed into the deep end, having to do that, make or break, I think that's what solidifies so many guys to make it to the league. That's why there's teams that get undrafted guys and build rosters off of that, because you have that trust, you have that accountability, you have that willingness to like do whatever it takes. And I think those are those little things that make good teams great.
I think that's sort of the mindset that you have to have as a fullback, like above everything else. Like that is the relentless mindset that you have to approach the game with no matter what. And so I think that there's no question why you approached your rookie year with that mentality, because you have to have the mindset of I'm about to run through this guy's face 100 miles an hour. And I'm about to do it again and again and again until he quits and I'm, running through him one more time. So I big time props, big time admire you for that mentality.
Like no one wants to run 14 ISO. No one wants to. Nobody on the offense, nobody on defense, nobody wants to see that. But are you willing to do it? Like, are you willing to do it for 4 yards? Like we're not trying to break loose like an 80-yard bomb to Tyreek. We're trying to set that up. Like we're trying to go 4 yards right here. Like, are you willing to do that for the squad? I
think I saw a clip on, I think it was on Twitter, and it was you on like goal line, like jumping over the O-line, like Superman blocking like 3 guys, just taking everything out in your path. That's how you gotta play.
That was wild. We're in London. So we spent a whole week in London. This is my rookie year, and we have a goal line package. Like it's all set in stone. But like that week was probably one of the most fun weeks I ever had as an NFL football player. Like we're out in London and the boys are playing we're playing euchre, we're playing sardines. I don't know if you remember that. Like we had the whole like campus to ourselves, like hide and seek type stuff. We're just messing around, like just trying to find games to play. We're bored, but everyone was there. Like you're isolated, you're there for a week. We had self-service off of the, like the grounds. So we just spent time together, and it was like one of the best weeks ever. Just as a kid, 22, 23, 24-year-old kid, growing up, doing your thing in the league, like being with all the boys. It felt like summer camp, and the Bears showed up, and it was like back and forth, felt like a bowl game. And we had that goal line. Like that's one of the go-ahead plays. The D-line cut our entire offensive line. So everyone's on the ground. There's no home. And you're 3 yards away, 4 yards away. And it's like, you see where you're supposed to go. You see Roquan, you see all these guys that get paid a lot of money. I'm like, I'm supposed to get there. And it was just like,
here we go.
Let's go over the top with it. Like, let's see what, and Josh just immediately went over the top with me. And it was
follow me to the end zone.
Follow the leader. If your friend is going to jump off the building, are you going to? And
that's right.
That's what fullback dreams are made of right there. Sounds like. I'll tell you what, Reggie Gilliam, who's kind of been like a hybrid guy for us, but I think he has a history of playing some fullback. He's become one of my best friends. I'm not sure if you guys have crossed paths or not, but I want to hit on a little bit of you mentioned going to the Raiders. We talked about going undrafted there. You played there. You played in Oakland for a year before you guys moved to Vegas. Became a team captain along the way. Very impressive there. When you signed with Oakland, did they tell you the team was moving ahead of time? Had they already announced it?
They had already announced it, but it was crazy. Like they were supposed to move the year before, and then some things fell through. So they're going to move again the next year. So we were already like 1 foot in, 1 foot out as soon as you show up.
So we've had a few guys that come on the podcast talk about and we'll get to it later at the tail end of the podcast, but we talk about favorite stadium and least favorite stadium. A lot of guys, their least favorite, because some of the older guys talk about that Oakland Stadium playing on the dirt. What was that like? Like, what kind of adjustment? Was there an adjustment period? Did you guys practice there whenever you could? Like when the athletics weren't playing there? Like how did that work?
We stayed off the dirt as much as possible.
That's what I thought.
Nobody's trying to get tackled on that. No one's trying to. It was, if you got tackled or if there was a block and you fell to your knees or whatever, it would literally scrape up your leggings, like your pants. There'd be holes in it. You'd be cut up on the arms. It was brutal because it's like a dirt infield for baseball, right? Like it's not like standing on the beach you're running through.
It's like little rocks.
Hard. It is very, very hard. So even trying to I remember playing against the Chiefs and trying to block Tyrann Mathieu off the edge. And I'm going from grass to dirt to grass again. And I just completely lost my footing because of the different surfaces. So as some people might be like, oh, they hated it. I did love, I embraced that. My first game there was a Monday Night Football against the Broncos. And it was just it's iconic, dude. The Coliseum, the Raiders, blue blood, it was crazy. So you kind of embraced it on our side, but yeah, it wasn't, it's nothing
what happened in that game? Was there something notable that happened in that game? I feel like I remember watching that on TV.
Which one?
Your Monday night game, your first game?
I think it was a back and forth game. We ended up pulling it out at the very end, but I can't.
That's remember. Right. I remember watching it at the tail end. Was there a penalty? Maybe a couple penalties in the game?
There was.
Maybe
there was.
Right, down in the deep red zone.
Yeah, and then we got one more chance at it. Josh,
that's what it was.
And then we ended up 3 and out on the defense or a pick or whatever, and we got 1 first down and iced it. So
yeah, I remember watching that game. All right, I knew there was something notable about it that I remembered.
So you moved to Vegas after year 1. You're there for the next 2 years. What was that like moving to Vegas? I know before you and I sort of talked about the perks of playing in Vegas, getting to go to the UFC fights, getting to go to cool restaurants there in town. What was that like?
It was crazy. So my rookie year ends. I rent a car out of Enterprise, right? Just throw all of your belongings in a car. You're living in an apartment month to month. Get this car. We drove down to Vegas and just threw everything into a townhouse that we had I put a deposit on, whatever. After that, we closed on the house, on the townhome, put everything away. I fly back out, try and get some furniture going. COVID hits. Our return flights get canceled, back to Wisconsin, back home. So at that point, we're officially moved into Vegas.
So you're stuck.
COVID. We're stuck. It's a pandemic. We're watching Tiger on Netflix. Me and the fiance. We had nothing to do. Garage workouts. You're in the desert. You don't know anybody. So that first year was crazy because you can't see your teammates. You can't hang out with guys. You can't get outside of the facility. So
how many guys did that happen to where you leave right after the season, you go to move in and you get stuck? There had to be other guys that were in the process of doing exactly what you were doing.
There was a dozen easy, maybe a couple dozen of guys doing that. So we're all just sitting there hands tied. You're trying to make ends meet. You're trying to make things work. You go to OTAs, all of a sudden it's Zoom, right? You're not seeing guys and you can't really travel back anywhere. You're really isolated. You're on an island. And the way Vegas is, it's it's a valley, right? So there's mountain ranges everywhere. So you don't get out of Vegas. You got to fly, and flights were canceled. So you're there. So we were just trying to make ends meet, trying to figure it all out. That first year, none of the perks, nothing like that.
No.
It was straight from the house to work and back again. So That was nuts. But then, yeah, that last year there was completely different.
And I think that you told me there was a restaurant there in town that named some sort of menu item after you.
Oh, yeah. Barcode Burgers. Big shout out to Barcode Burgers. It's like, so you got the strip, right? And it's like 5-star restaurants, everything. Like,
yeah.
You got clubs, you got
we used to go to the I can't remember what the name of it was, but the buffet in the Cosmopolitan. We used to go there when we would be out at our Vegas camps, and it was just the best, like best of the best, like craziest, like bone marrow, all kinds of like weird things, but like so good.
They dial it up to the 10s. And then in the shadows of the strip is Barcode Burgers. And it's a little piece of home. It's a sports bar. They got the jerseys on the wall. They got good beer. They got good food. They got burgers. They got whatever you need. And we got the Badger burger there. We got cheese curds on.
Let's go.
Burger, garlic aioli. It's like it's one of those things where if you eat it, if you don't take a walk later that night to like walk it off, you're gonna be hurting. Like it's a beast. So being able to like design up your own menu item was sick, especially at a place like that. Cody's the owner there. He's awesome. So it was just like, that's me, man. That's burger, beer, whatever, sports bar. I could take that any day.
So as we were actually going to ask about the cheese curds, I've been to Green Bay once when we played in 2016, and then I've been to Milwaukee twice. Cheese curds and the beers and brats was a highlight of the trip for the 2 trips to Milwaukee. Tell me, like, there's something special about cheese curds, and they say that there's like a squeak when you eat them.
Yeah, you need
what's that all about?
So the more fresh of the cheese curd, the squeakier the cheese curd is. So, you can go to the gas station, you go to Quick Trip, right? And you can get a bag of cheese curds. You're going to check the dates. You got to make sure the tab is the right color, depending on
really.
It's a whole thing. Now, if you get the right one, you get a good bag, you get it fresh. It's going to be squeaking, and it's like, it's better than a steak just cutting like butter. Like it's just the squeakiness of a cheese curd. It's different, Coach. It's different.
Man. So were you like super picky when they built your burger in Vegas about the cheese curds, or is that just something that it's on a burger, so it's gonna kind of melt into the flavor?
Yeah. I'm not being pretentious about my cheese curd burger.
Understandable.
Like, as long as they're on there. Like we're just gonna make
it on there. That's awesome. So your teammates in Vegas with Foster Moro, who I showed up to LSU with in 2015. I think we need to talk about him for a minute because I feel like he deserves the airtime on After the Snap pod. He needs to come on at some point, but I know scheduling with him would be absolutely impossible. I can't even get him to return a text message, much less get him for 25, 30 minutes on the podcast. You saw Foster Moro, the NFL player, polished post number 18 at LSU. Foster Moro, tell the people about him at the NFL level, and then I'll discuss Foster Moro, the hometown LSU kid.
All right, so Foster's the most competitive person I've ever met.
Easily.
And the thing about Foster is he plays the game within the game every time. Every time. Doesn't matter if you're playing pop a shot, he'll find a way to get his release a little bit faster, throw 2 balls up. Whether it's video games like Madden or FIFA, he's gonna find the best tactic, the best custom tactic for the best custom team that he can make. Whether it's Catan, he is going to demolish you every time. Whether it's longest road or best, like, doesn't matter if it's a board game, pool volleyball, football, it does not matter. He's coming. He's coming for your throat. Like, cutthroat competitor. And I roomed with this man for 3 to 4 months in a Hampton Inn and Suites, and in Oakland, Alameda, California. Like Alameda, it's the island where we trained or whatever. But the dude made everything a competition. We would try and like go to the facility, like all of a sudden he's waking up at 5 a.m. going to facility, and we got team meeting at 8. Like I was
racing there. Yes.
And the only some of the best routines I ever have was because I roomed with him, because it was so competitive, and he would just jab you, he'd chirp you. I didn't see you in the tubs. I didn't see you in the tubs before team meeting. Like, I was getting better. I stayed late and I was talking to coach. Like, we're figuring out all our stuff.
That was one of the biggest things at LSU that got under guys' skin on the team, was that when he did something that he knew was better than you, or he was just like, he won a rep, in team or whatever it was, he was going to chirp you about it. And it led to so many fights in practice, so many just like bickering arguments in apartments playing. So there was one time I walked into their apartment. They were a couple floors above us. It was him and a couple teammates. And I walked in there, and they're in the middle of a full-fledged Nerf War on a 2-level apartment. Like, he's at the top, like sniping from like a fort thing, but he was going to chirp you about it if he beat you. Like, was not going to let you hear the end of it.
We had a Nerf War in our Alameda apartment. We went to Target, and we probably dropped $200, $300 in Nerf guns, Nerf gear. We had the big inflatables up. Like, we had teams, and it was like capture the flag, and he wins every single time. I think he's going to be like a GM one day, just because he understands like the game and everything. Because between him and Renfro, like, they never lost. They never lost any game that they played. It's unbelievable.
He's gonna make like the best and also the worst dad someday, because he's gonna be like super competitive with his kids and like never ever let them win at anything ever.
No, yeah, I'm just imagining him out playing pool basketball and just rejecting
yes.
It's gonna make him better.
Yes,
and it's gonna make him better.
Keep him humble.
There was a time, and this is not about his competitive nature. There was a time at LSU where he was in the weight room. He's a weight room junkie. I don't know if that was how he was in Vegas. I'm sure it probably was. Weight room junkie, could not get him out of the weight room. He was doing, I don't know if he's talked to you about this, about his teeth getting knocked out. So he was doing like back pulls, and he's sitting on this thing, and the cord breaks, and the metal piece that he was hanging onto hits him square in the mouth, and he had to get his lips like sewn back together, because his teeth went like through his lips, and he had to wear. It wasn't a visor on like you would have, on your eyes. It was a visor that he had to have over his mouth, so that if he hit somebody, it wouldn't he wouldn't get poked or anything go through and reopen his wound. So when we had to wear those masks on our face masks back during COVID, for like however many couple weeks that we had, it reminded me of 2018 when that happened, and he like had to wear this. It looked like Bane, like a Bane mask, but it was like clear.
Yikes!
We made so much fun of him for it, but that I guess it kind of does go back to his competitive nature. He was not gonna let that hinder him playing a snap at all. Like, he was back at practice on whatever it was, Tuesday, after getting his freaking lips sewn up on Monday afternoon.
He was a beast.
Absolute beast.
Before I got a question about you obviously going to Miami, but did you cross paths with Will Compton in Oakland or in Vegas, I guess?
Comp is the best. In two different stints with the Raiders, absolute baller, dude.
I don't know him. I've thoroughly enjoyed one of Blake and I, one of our best buds is a big Bussin' with the Boys fan, and he loves that podcast. I'm not too into it. I just enjoy following Will on social media. But I wanted to ask you about him, because I don't know anybody that has ties to him. But I've become a pretty big fan of his. He's
hilarious.
He's a funny dude.
Yes.
So
He's a
funny.
funny dude.
Social media, he'll pick fights. Like he does not care, and he's gonna make fun.
He doesn't
of
care.
But you get him in a locker room, dude. And as a rookie, he showed up like halfway through the season, straight for punt sets, like going to cover and played like depth on linebacker, played his role, but like Coach Bisaccia was getting on him hard, right? Like trying to get him up to speed, learning everything, and he would just dish it right back to him. And as like a rookie, you're sitting in there, you're like, special teams coordinator, like Will just showed up and he's talking that shit right back. Like, are we sure that's okay? Is that allowed? But you loved it. Like he has that shtick about him. He has that like just feel good. Like we're gonna get as gritty.
Got that dog in him.
He's got that dog in him, like straight up. Dude, it's true. It's 100% true. He shows up for a playoff run. He's just with the boys. And he can have a conversation with anybody. Doesn't matter if you're undrafted rookie, 10-year vet, whatever. You're gonna have one of the best conversations ever. You're gonna feel like you've been best friends with him for a decade.
Awesome. I'm about to see if I can reach out to him, maybe have him on the pod someday. But so ending last season, obviously you knew you're up for a new contract. You come to Miami. What was it like transitioning from Vegas to Miami? How did that come to be?
It was wild. You have like 30 minutes in free agency, and that's like you're gonna head across the country, make that decision, call a family, let them know what happened. I took a red-eye flight, and I basically started training like the next day. I remember friggin' Troy had a BFR machine on my leg, like I'm coming back from the ACL, and it was like we can't miss any time, right? So you go from one staff that has you here, and then there's a little bit of a mishap in communication, whatever. You're on the streets for about a week trying to figure everything out. And then the next week you're in Miami trying to catch up and make sure that time is right, because you need to be back for week one. So that was like a whole dynamic of trying to like move, trying to get everything set, get your routine set so that everything could be as seamless as possible. So yeah, catching that red eye and basically moving across the country overnight and then just figuring everything else later was one of the craziest times of my life. Super grateful for it, learned a lot, but moving's never easy.
It's the number one thing that I despise in my life.
Moving sucks.
It's the worst. I'll never, and thank the good Lord that I've been playing for this long and I have saved up a little bit of money. I will never move by myself. I will always, from this day forward, pay somebody to move me.
100%.
And it's so worth it. I'll never do it. I hate moving.
They're going to pack up the pod. They're going to get the furniture in there.
Yep.
Like it is a disaster, but yeah, it was something that had to happen. And super, like, I could not imagine showing up into a locker room and everything just being like so set up. Like, okay, we're going to go here. We're going to figure this out. And it felt like a checklist. Like they already had everything processed, ready to go. So it was really just trusting everybody and just getting dialed back into football, getting back on the field, and then getting ready for this week one. So there was no time to really like sulk or feel bad about the move, worry about anything else. It was like, let's get in this training room. Let's get right.
Coach McDaniel is a guy that's known for using a fullback in his offenses, as is with his coaching tree with Shanahan and Juice in San Francisco. That had to be a big selling point for you coming into Miami. You had to be super pumped about that, just with all the cool things that you'd seen him do with Juice in San Francisco, thinking about all the cool things that you'll be able to do here in Miami, right?
It's the number one reason. And you want to be on a team that's going to be successful, competitive. And, that's the Dolphins for the past 3 years. It's just like you're getting closer and closer and closer. And to have a head coach there that trusts fullbacks like that, you're 26 years old, you're a free agent. Let's go be as good as you can be. Let's find the most challenging offense you can get in. Let's bite off as much as we can chew and let's figure it out later. So that was really like the number one selling point. Like, where can I play ball? Where can I get back on the field? Where can I make an impact? Where can I help other guys? And that was the Dolphins. That was Coach McDaniel. and the rest is history. Like let's just go, dude. Like I don't know. I'm getting fired up talking about it. I know it's we still got a few more weeks, but I just can't wait to get back on the field. Freaking play ball again, man.
What do you say to the haters that think the fullback position is dying?
There aren't haters. They're just non-believers. They don't see it. They don't understand. And if you don't think a fullback belongs on the football field, I'm gonna say that you haven't played offense or defense in the NFL. Like I'm just gonna
love that energy.
Who did you have a Mike Allstott jersey growing up?
So
probably not because you were a high school quarterback.
I was a big coon guy.
Ooh, oh, sure, obviously.
William Henderson, Big Will Henderson, obviously Stott, Lorenzo Neal. Dude, there's
a couple legends.
Yeah, there's a Mount Rushmore of fullbacks. There's no Hall of Fame for fullbacks. Maybe they just need to make their own.
There's not for long snappers either, so we're right there with you.
Like let's just make a little separate asterisk Hall of Fame for long snappers, fullbacks, punters, kickers. Let's get the glue guys.
The glue guys Hall of Fame. Glue guys Hall of Fame.
Let's do it.
You heard it here first.
I am here for that. I want to hear about the Lowman Trophy. I know our fellows over at Pardon My Take are big, huge fullback fans. I want to hear about the Lowman Trophy that was presented, I think, to the University of Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's the greatest honor in all of college football. It's the best award. It's the most prestigious. It is a tire with a nail in it with a little bit of Coors Light, whether you drink it or not. And those guys they are the biggest proponents of fullbacks in all of media, in all of the space. So they, reached out. I forget who they reached out to, Wisconsin Badgers, whatever. And I was able to give them a video back, thanking them for being able to receive the Lowman Trophy for literally the University of Wisconsin. We had like 3 fullbacks that year that were all playing ball, so they couldn't just give it to one. So I had to send a quick video to the boys. Those guys are hilarious. They're going to clown whoever, whenever, at any time, at any moment.
Anybody can get it.
Dude, for whatever reason, fullbacks that's their thing. And the Lowman was brought home to Camp Randall Stadium. Big tire.
So you also have some fellow Badger alums, Gink, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Michael Dieter, some true Midwestern boys down here in Miami. You guys brought euchre down. I got to learn how to play euchre, which for our listeners who don't know, and Reed, I guess,
I don't know if I'm aware of what that is.
It's a card game, and I'm still sort of learning how to play, but it's phenomenal. How does it feel to be back with those guys? I know I love getting to reconnect with guys from LSU when, in my first couple of years here. I know Reed, the same with his LSU guys in Buffalo. How's it been getting to reconnect with them?
It's awesome. It's old hat. It's being able to have those traditions that you did growing up. And like, you guys know, like when you're in college, you're growing up, you're trying to like figure everything out, and like you're going through it with your boys. Like,
yeah,
you're all together. It's like y'all against the world. And that's kind of how you have to go about things. So now that you have families, now that Ginks has a kid, a second on the way now, congratulations to Ginks.
Woohoo!
And Dieter's here.
Just announced.
Dieter's
breaking
here.
News.
Yeah, we're
not the breaking news you'd expect from this podcast, but
no, they announced it on social media yesterday. We're good. We're A-okay.
We're secondary.
Hey, not spilling any beans here, but I mean that's the transition, right? Like you're with those guys when you're 19, 20 years old, trying to like do your thing in Madison, Wisconsin. All of a sudden now you have families. You're going golfing. You're playing euchre. You're showing other people how you did things. It's full circle moments, and it's cool how you pick stuff up just like that. Like I'm sure you guys have a bunch of traditions y'all had in LSU, and it's different. It's different when you're with somebody in college and then to be in the pros with them. It's a really cool bond.
Yeah, I've been teammates with Tre'Davious White for 9 years. Actually, going on 9 years. So
From LSU to
I'm right there
Buffalo.
with you. LSU to
That's
Buffalo.
wild.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's one of my favorite things, even beyond the guys in Miami and obviously for Reed, the guys in Buffalo, is seeing guys after games as well, getting to, take a picture after the game, swap jerseys. I have a bunch of those in my house, and people are like, who are all these jerseys? And it's guys that you grinded with in college, guys that you were running the levee with on a July morning when nobody else was awake. It's guys like that are your brothers for life, because you've gone through the suck with them, for years. So
how many jerseys are you gonna have? Like, how many jerseys when it's all said and done? How many are going to be on the wall?
Well, I'm still waiting on Foster Moro to send me a jersey from the game we played 2 years ago.
He said he still has it. I think he does, because I'm hoping that he still has it because it's got the inaugural season patch on it. And I really, it's not going to be on the front side of the frame, but I really want that jersey. But I've got 8 right now. 2 of those from Reed. I've got a home and an away jersey.
I'm trying to get the what do you call it? Color rush.
Yeah.
I've got an orange, and I've got a white, and I've got a teal.
I don't think we even have an orange jersey.
No, not orange. I'm sorry. I've got a white and I've got a teal.
Okay.
I'm trying to get the throwback. I guess
I don't know that we'll ever wear throwback against Buffalo, but
I don't think so.
We could probably make that happen.
Is that going to be a good whiskey?
We've worn our
dude.
throwbacks down in Miami before, though.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll happen.
I think it will be, to answer your question, Alec. I think that'll go sort of in the man cave where I put my good bourbon stash, a nice
wagon.
Yes,
Yeah.
dude. Let's go. And then get some jerseys on the wall, a TV in there to watch whatever the Monday Night Football is or whatever, But I want to talk a little bit here as we approach the end of our interview, and thanks again for spending so much time with us. We've talked a little bit about your upbringing before, and I think that this is a great platform to bring awareness to a cause that's incredibly important to you, and that's the foster care system and the adoption system. Give us just some insight into what that was like and how that sort of shaped your perspective on life and going through adversity.
I mean, being adopted, I think it cuts a little deeper when you talk about fears that you have, like fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of loneliness. Like, it cuts deep. It's right to your identity. Like, you're questioning everything, like why you're here, why you weren't good enough, why you got put up for adoption, or you're in the foster care system. So for me, I was super lucky. I got placed in a forever home right off the bat, right? And have the most supportive family, best support system you could ask for. But for a lot of these kids, they have those questions, they have those doubts, they have those moments of looking in the mirror. It's like, who are you, right? Like, there's no one to relate to. And for me, it was visual. I was a mixed kid growing up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Like, I didn't see anybody that looked like me. And for a lot of these kids to be able to reach out to Adopt US Kids or different organizations that work with foster care kids, to be able to relate to them at such a deep level. Like people go through that every single day. Like, you go through it, I go through it, whoever's watching is going through it, whoever's listening is going through that. But when you can relate at something so deep, like being adopted or being in the foster care system, when you have a garbage bag with all your stuff and you're just moving to the next house because no one's gonna, put in the effort and the sacrifice to stick with you for more than a week or two. For a moment for me to sit down with a kid one at a time and to just talk about ball, talk about life, talk about recess, talk about school, talk about whatever hobbies they're into, talk about video games, playing Madden with kids, whether it's on Zoom, in person, giving backpacks out to kids, teaching them financial literacy, professional development skills. Like, that stuff is so impactful when you're able to relate at that deeper level. So I think that's really where my purpose is. That's where the foundation, the Ingold Family Foundation, really came from. And that's really what we've been doing for ever since I've been in the league, but now formally this past year as a foundation. So there's been so many cool moments, man. I've talked to kids at risk of aging out of the system, right? At 18 to 24 years old, like they're going to cut you off. There's no more government assistance. There's nothing, right? No subsidized housing. If you're not in school, they're going to cut you off. And to have a conversation with a kid that's about to graduate college, go into or graduate high school, and talking about what summer job he's looking for. If he loves, music, the radio, doing his thing, like, but he's talking about getting a job working at Target stacking shelves because that's going to pay the best, like $20 an hour. To change that mindset for a kid and be like, no, like let's get you an internship at the radio station. Let's figure out how to, work away into a career. Like that's going to be forever. Like you can grow off of that, and just kind of opening that mindset, opening that perspective, teaching kids where jobs are, careers are, where support system is. That's been some of the most powerful stuff I've been able to do this past year or so. And it's been cool you learn just as much from those kids as they might learn from you. And it's all about perspective. It's all about just being a good person.
That's great. I know you hit on it just a little bit. I did want to ask you about the Ingold Family Foundation. What is there one interaction that you've had that's your go-to story that you tell, one of the coolest interaction that you've had? Is there one that immediately comes to mind?
Yeah, we did a financial literacy workshop 2000. This wasn't this past offseason, the offseason before. And there was a kid, so they're all student athletes, underprivileged student athletes, Madison area. And this kid was, a little timid, had the glasses on, just doing his thing. And he was really nervous we got everybody to get up in front of people and speak, at least for a minute, right? Just to get them out of their comfort zone, get them going a little bit, talk about your goal, your dream. And then we had them Google their name, look at what the definition of the name was and what they want to change about that, right? So he gets up there, he does a great job. And it's super cool, right? Everyone's cheering for him. And you could see like a light bulb click, right? Like, oh, people really just vibe with me just being myself. Like, that's cool. Like, I can be myself. I can tell people who I am, what I want to do. And we got in like a big circle, kind of like a huddle right at the end of it. And I just wanted all the kids to say like one thing that they'll never forget about the 2-day experience. And the kid got up and he's like, I just have all the confidence in the world now to chase my dreams, to be confident in who I am. He's like, I want to be an astronaut. Like I showed up, I want to do my thing. I'm sorry if I cut out there for a sec, but he's like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to do my thing. That's what I want to do with my life. And you all gave me the confidence to just be myself, to speak that into existence, to want to do that and to have confidence in it. And like everyone, it was just like chills. Everyone was giving a round of applause. And it was like that's what you want a high school kid to have the confidence to do, is just to be themselves, to speak on what they truly want to do in life. And to see that transformation from that kid, that's what got me going. That's what kept me going. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Those moments like that have to never get old. I'm sure you've had countless people reach out via social media and at your, events, just talking about the impact that you've had on them. Do you have somebody that you had as a role model as you were growing up, somebody that you looked up to that sort of instilled that confidence and that drive, that mindset of being relentless in you, that you wanted to end up sharing with the next generation?
Yeah, I think it would be my dad. Honestly, I think that's a role model a lot of people draw to, but my dad was an All-American wrestler growing up, and nothing was handed to that guy. And he earned every single thing he's ever gotten in life. And to get a front row seat to that, to see him have success as an athlete, as a coach, as a parent, as all the hats that he could wear, it gave me the courage and confidence to not just be an athlete. Like, go out of your comfort zone, try and be great somewhere else, try and impact people outside of your lane. It's going to be risky. It's going to feel uncomfortable, but you might just help somebody else out. You might just change a life. You might just change your own life. And to take that chance, to take that opportunity, I learned that from my dad growing up. And it's really cool to be able to say.
Whew.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much, dude, for taking some time. That was great.
I don't think I breathed for like the last 3 questions. Man, your story is freaking phenomenal. And thank you so much for sharing that with us.
No, it's good. I appreciate it.
We've got a couple light-hearted questions that we like
We're
to
gonna
finish
lighten it
off.
up a little bit.
Yeah, we call them short snaps.
Okay.
No pun intended. Just kidding. Pun totally intended. So I got 6 of them for you. We ask these to every guest. Favorite away stadium that you've played in?
SoFi Stadium. Even though it cracked a couple ribs there, dude, it's like $5 billion stadium. You can tell it's a $5 billion stadium.
That's great because I've never played there, so this will be my first time to kick off the season. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Least favorite away stadium?
Shoot. I'm gonna say Arrowhead. I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't want a reason. I just don't like it there.
Okay, fair enough. I've got plenty of reasons not to like it also. So
sorry for opening up old wounds.
No, it's okay. It happens. It happens. Hardest hitting player in the league not named Alec Ingold.
Hey, the hardest hit I've ever taken was from Vontaze Burfict in training camp.
No kidding.
I know he's not in the league right now, but he's 270 pounds, 260 pounds of just like anger. He's just an inside linebacker, just a dude. So that was the hardest hit I've ever taken. It's not really close. There's no really second place.
Really?
It's head and shoulder, like
not even, and it was a training camp practice.
Yeah, 100%. And like you're trying to pick the team, and that's the team captain like of the defense. He's doing his thing, and he's the tone setter, dude. Like that's what he does. And it was like, okay, that's the hardest I've ever been hit. And thankfully, it hasn't really gotten worse from that point. But there's some tone setters in the league. Like there's some dudes.
Okay, so what's on your pregame playlist?
Oh, I'm a big lyrical guy, so I'll go like Joyner Lucas, J. Cole, Kendrick, very much like hip hop rap heavy. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. What's the last song you turn on? Do you have a go-to like right before you go out, or is it just whatever's on the playlist?
No, whatever's on the playlist, and it's something that I'm just gonna put a smile on my face. You know what I'm saying? Like you can get all this intense list, like you rah, but like at the end of the day, the very end, like smile, like enjoy it. You're about to go out with your boys. You're about to play a game. You're about to perform. You're about to entertain in front of millions of people at home. And it's like, you got a little swag about you. You got like that feeling like we're going to do something special. We're going to put it all out there. You've been working all week to go out there and play. Like, man, just cut it loose, have fun, enjoy it. Enjoy that preparation, and we're going to just have fun.
Love it. 2 more for you, and they kind of go together. What's your go-to halftime snack?
Oh, I'm going fast twitch with a PB&J. So 200 milligrams of caffeine straight to the dome piece, and then we're gonna get like a Smucker's PB&J, specifically strawberry.
Thank you.
Face is feeling like you got fire ants underneath your skin.
Oh, hey, I have a fast twitch at like pregame, and it's enough to put down, like, you know, it's a little bit. I'm not saying it's Dan Campbell like quadruple shot of espresso in the coffee cup, but 2 fast twitches during a game it gets you going.
Is that cardiologist recommended?
No, don't do that at home.
Definitely not.
Put a little banner here. Do not.
They recommend like once a week. He's eating 2 in 4 hours.
Yeah.
Hey, this is bad. Hey, yeah. If there's a high school kid watching this, like, don't take 3 shots of C4 before you go play high school football game. Just don't do it. Like, please don't.
Only when you're lining up against Perfect.
That is big fullback energy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad you said PBJ. So this is the last question. This came about last year. We had a game in Kansas City. We had peanut butter and jelly at halftime. I made a comment that there was too much peanut butter on the sandwiches. The sideline reporter happened to be in the tunnel when I said it. It made it to television. Not that I said it, but that somebody said it on the team.
There were complaints about the jelly.
Complaints about the ratio was off. So what is if you're making a PBJ for yourself, and I know Smucker's is they're like undefeated.
Yeah.
Everybody says Smucker's is the best. if you're making one for yourself, what is your PB to J ratio?
So I'm a big peanut butter and jelly fan. I'm like a connoisseur of peanut butter and jelly.
Okay. That's a first.
Have you ever had the goober?
Yes.
Reed used to like spoonful that just straight to his mouth growing up.
Are you talking about the where it's half, like
Yes.
they're like intertwined, they're like that in the jar?
It's like peanut butter and jelly stripes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Got it. Okay.
That is the perfect.
So you're 50-50.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, so you're 50-50.
Wow.
We've had a
in that situation. That's how I'm feeling. It's there. It's all there for you. If you want a little, see, it gives you diversity. If you need a little bit more jelly, if it's a jelly,
spoon over a little bit, and you're dipping more jelly.
If you need the peanut butter, if you want to be functional, if you want to, get the whole like energy side of things, you want the peanut butter, like it's there. It's right there.
Just know that the next time you come back to that jar, you're getting the exact opposite of what you just scooped out. If you don't scoop out exactly 50-50.
We're not getting too high. We're not getting too low.
Yeah.
We're going to stay right here. We're going to find that midline. But if you need to diversify a little bit.
Come on, baby.
50-50 to 50-50 straight to the dome piece. I'm using that line. I'm about to look up what this fast twitch stuff is. Sounds like I need some.
We had
I can't say I'm familiar,
and I don't know if they still make them, but we had the bottles of it. They make it now, or they only have the powder now, but they used to have bottles of it. That's what they had my first 2 years. It was phenomenal.
Fast twitch,
best of the best.
The best.
Got it.
Alec,
I just ordered some.
Thank you so much for taking an hour of time to hang with us, to talk your story. Man, this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much. Find Alec on the field. He will be the guy running through somebody's face.
That's the only way to do it, Coach. Only way to do it.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks.
A huge thank you to Alec for coming on this week. He was one of my favorite guests that we've had. Starting from the moment he joined the call, he was bringing the energy, big fullback energy. Like that's how he is every day.
Dog in him.
He's got that dog in him. And he's worked his tail off. Just coming into a new team, it's got to be hard. But he has shown up every single day, ready to roll. And he is, like he talked about, Vontaze Burfict being a tone setter for his team back when he was with the Raiders. He is a tone setter for the Miami Dolphins. So the team matches that energy, and we sure do appreciate having him around. So big thanks to him for coming on the pod.
Yeah, I hope for those that listened all the way through, I think it, like the last bit of the pod where he started talking about his upbringing, when you kind of dove into that with him, and how he kind of dove into the foundation and his and kind of the deeper background, not the football side of things, about growing up adopted and stuff like that. That kind of, I'm glad he talked about that last, because I feel like that kind of encapsulated his whole story that he told.
No question.
And kind of made everything that all of his answers and everything that he spoke about, it kind of made it that much better.
Yeah.
Given his story. So he was fantastic. Super thankful to Alec for coming on. He was great, and can't wait to meet him in a couple of weeks when we play.
Let's do it. That is a wrap on this week's episode of After the Snap. Subscribe, follow us on social media at After the Snap Pod everywhere. Look for some new content coming out soon. And we will see you right back here next week, hopefully with another great guest.
Yes.
See you soon. This has been After the Snap, tales from two brothers who live life upside down.